Well, now we have more establishment of what the plot is, and things are definitely not slowing down at all. Hey guys, Cameron for Queen of the South, Season 1, Episode 2, Cuarenta Minutos, and of course that does mean 40 minutes. I took Spanish, guys. I do know what some Spanish words mean. Not all, but every episode title is going to be in Spanish, so I guess I'm going to have to use Google Translate sometimes to tell you what it actually means. But anyway, I was really looking forward to this first episode, mainly because, second episode, mainly because the first episode last week, the premiere, didn't exactly tell me what the show was going to be. I really didn't know what direction we were headed into. I know that obviously we're seeing, Teresa go from rags to riches, basically, see how she turned into that drug kingpin that we saw that ended up, getting killed at the end of the first episode, and we know, of course, she does end up dying. She's gonna die at the end of the show, we know that, but this is basically our journey to see that. I was also wondering, though, where exactly we're gonna go from there. What were we gonna see? What was the show gonna explore? And I really enjoyed the second episode. I think it was really intense at points. There was a lot of stuff going on, especially some of the things that Teresa's seeing. I don't think she's definitely not at all prepared for what she's about to experience. Definitely get that sense here, but let's just get in this episode. We got more, like I said, we got introduced to some more characters in this episode. There's more going on, and overall, I think this episode just better set up what the show was gonna be, but let's just get into it. So we start off, we see Teresa's being told to wake up by a woman who tossed a sandwich beside her, and she sits up, she's looking around, and there are women cleaning their clothes and taking care of business. One does her nails, and it's clearly nothing that she's used to, because as we know, Teresa was dirt poor, as we know. She was dirt poor. Guerrero was the one that kind of gave her this good life, and now she's kind of been stripped away from her, but one woman's given an injection as she moans, another laughs. Teresa finally gets up and asks the guy if she can see Camilla. He hits the fence with a rifle, busts her lip. A woman yelled at her about messing up her nails, and future Teresa then tells her that she never told her this was going to be easy, and I thought this was a really good way to start things, because yeah, we totally see this isn't going to be easy, and especially getting that, getting to be the queen pin that she wants to be, it's not going to be an easy job. So, and I like the way they're using future Teresa as Teresa's motivation. We're not just seeing, future Teresa narrating, we're actually seeing it as her motivation for the future. I think it's kind of cool. So Teresa sits, and a woman approaches, offers her a napping for her busted lip and some food. The woman says her name is Avalon, and Teresa tells her name too, and I was thinking, okay, this girl's gonna be main character, we're gonna see a friendship spark there, but she asks Teresa if is a pro or mule, and she says neither. She says that asshole that hit her is the nicest guy there, and of course, if that guy is the nicest guy there, Teresa definitely has something to worry about, because we know that guy obviously gave her a busted lip. She says stick close and she can help her. She says she helps a lot of girls and says she'll be in her position soon, says she works to be a mule and make money, and she says she has to do some things to get what she has, and advises Teresa to stay quiet like a mouse, and basically, she's making Teresa into kind of like a prostitute. That's what it seems like Teresa might end up doing, is being a prostitute, and she has Teresa's kids, and says she's trying to get back to her son in El Paso, and Aveline says, follow me and you'll turn out like me and be fine. So Teresa reviews the food. Then the girl kneels over on her and is ODing, we realize, and Teresa calls her help, says something is wrong. Men shout in Spanish. One curses that they bust again, and she's dead, and they haul Aveline out. They try to get the drugs out before it's too late, and already we see Aveline's dead. They cut open her belly as Teresa watches, digs his hand in her stomach, pulls out one bloody packet of drugs. Just crazy stuff to watch, really. I've seen USA go far before. Especially Mr. Robot. We know how far they went last year. But the other one watched horrified, obviously. No one should have to see this. And the guy counts them out. Teresa then makes a run. She heads out, then hits a locked fence. Men chase her. Really great scene where she has to run up and she runs into this man with a rifle. She climbs over the ledge, jumps down, but falls through some rotted boards. They come after her, and she's too limp to fight them off. They get out 22 bags out of Aveline, and then another guy takes over, grabs one more. He washes his hand, glares at Teresa, and again, the action in this show is just incredible. They do such a great job with it, and it really feels like a movie, honestly, especially for a summer show. Usually you're very half-assed, but here it's really, the action's awesome, and definitely one of the best parts of the show. But in general, the show is really good. But we then go to Culiacan, Mexico. We see Brenda, a lot more to do with Brenda in this episode. Brenda just didn't really make an impression for me in the first episode. Not that she was bad, it's just because of how focused it was on Teresa, I didn't really not care about character. Not that I didn't care about character, just she didn't really make and really think much of her. But in this episode, I really liked her. Brenda and Tony are walking down the street. Brenda leaves a message for Teresa, asks if she's alive, because of course she has no idea where Teresa is. And honestly, the position that Brenda's in is probably the worst position because her friend's gone. She has no idea where she is, and she thinks she could be dead. Says Epifanio's men are everywhere. Tony wants these hungry. Brenda writes him a reality check, which I think was the right thing to do, obviously. And Oscar pulls up, tells Brenda and Tony to get now, and he asks what they did and where's Chino, and Brenda hangs her head. Oscar gets out of the van, takes a box of fruit to the store, then gets back in, and Oscar acts like he's just making routine deliveries, and he drives away. None of Epifanio's men seem to notice. Brenda tells him sorry for how mean she was to him as a kid. She tells him that she's sorry for setting his truck on fire, and he's stunned. Brenda thanks him again. Kind of a nice scene. I like seeing her. Clearly this guy she's not really a fan of. She's actually nice to him. I thought that was well done. Camille then gets out of her car, goes into a party with a gift, and I really love the actress playing Camille in this episode. I mean, she just has such presence to her role. I mean, she really seems like a scene stealer, and she really did a great job here. Men then stand in with respect, call her Don Camilla. She hands a gift to a man whose daughter is having the party. It's her goddaughter's party. She brought her a diamond tiara, and the man thanks her. Camilla tells the man that her daughter Isabel's quinceañera is next year, and the host Ruben tells her some numbers and she says this is no time for business, this is family time. She says these moments are fleeting and says embrace them. They thank her, and Ruben then puts the tiara on his daughter, dances with her. Camilla's phone buzzes. She gets a text that Teresa tried to run. She leaves the party, obviously, because she needs to make sure that Teresa doesn't run. And I like the way Camilla's kind of a villain, but kind of not, because Camilla's pretty much what Teresa wants to be. You know, she is, her husband, of course, is the kingpin. She wants to kind of be in Camilla's position. Camille then asks James why the bags are bursting. He says the new chemist, and we meet this new guy, James, who is going to be a main character. Camille says this is his problem since he found the guy and the plane is leaving soon. Camille comes into the cage with Teresa, says that she's a runner. Camille puts her phone on the table, makes a call to Epifanio on speakerphone. She asks him about the emails he's sending about the girl. He tells her it was Guiro's girlfriend and knows that she's in Texas, so she shouldn't come there. And Camilla asks what she did to him, and he says Teresa and Guero stole from him and Guero is dead, and he says he has to send a message. He says to let him know if she finds the girl and maybe he'll do something nice for her. So she ends the call, asks Teresa if Guero stole, and Teresa says she knows nothing because really she doesn't know much, and Camilla asks why Epifanio wants her dead so badly, and Teresa says she's just a girlfriend, and that's exactly what's going on. That he wants her dead because she was associated with Guero, and anyone that was associated with Guero, he obviously wants dead because Guero clearly stole stuff, and this is something that Teresa doesn't know. And really, I mean, Teresa's not lying here. That's totally what's going on, is that really she had no idea what's going on. She was kind of just thrown into this situation, and I think they show that really well here. Showing, I think, her innocence was very well played. So Camilla's girlfriend to a lot of people. She says her to tell her men to drug her and put her to work, and literally is going to try to make her into a prostitute. I mean, really, you can tell Camilla's really bad news, and Teresa screams and begs, because obviously no one wants to be in that position. Camilla stops her men before they give her an injection. Camilla asks if she remembers something new. Teresa begs her to wait and says she can be more for her, and then she says she'll deliver the drugs. Camilla has them stand her up, and Teresa says she'll deliver the drugs. The mule didn't, and Camilla says that there are problems with the mules and says the cops know what they're doing. Teresa insists she'll do it, and Camilla says to use her. Camilla then chews out James, says Han is important, so he better drive fast before they bust and kill her. Teresa is taken to her room. She sees women cutting drugs, and then James takes her photo to make her a passport, and they hand her a packet of drugs, obviously to get her out of there, because it's not safe, and Teresa puts it in her mouth and swallows. They hand her one after another. She keeps swallowing. She stops and coughs. She got 17 down, keeps going. She has 23 inside her. James tells her to not eat or drink anything until they have come up, because clearly he's done this before. You can definitely tell. Really interesting scene, though, and again, just seeing Teresa, she was, I'm not going to say she's completely innocent, because she's not completely innocent, but she definitely is in a situation that is very hard to deal with, and they take her to get on a plane. Camilla hands over the passport and then shows her a necklace of Saint Malverde they found on her. She hands it to her, says she'll need the patron saint of comfort, and tells him to go. James drives fast with Teresa in the stolen car. He runs over her address and other facts from her passport. She says driving like this won't help, but he keeps on. He almost runs down some pedestrians, then runs a red light, which obviously, I mean, how are you a good driver if you run down some pedestrians? I get that they want to get out of there, but come on, you almost killed some people. And They run a red light. He tells Teresa to tell him she feels numb. He hits a road closed sign and says has to back up. He says they won't make it, and then says that she won't have time. He says throw it up now. He says that's not the first girl that died, and he won't have it. Teresa says no, she won't do it. She says get me to the airport on time. Says she's doing this job. She says drive, and he says she's gonna die. They drive. She hands on, runs a red light. They're stuck they're struck by an SUV, and again, awesome action here. They get out of the car. She looks around, grabs the bag. They run inside the airport. They run up the escalator to the counter. He does the e-check-in for the tickets. They had the security. James tells the guys that his girlfriend's always late. They wait to go through the scanner. She goes first. It beeps. The guy calls her over. She looks around. He sees a drug dog, and she gets a pass. She waits for Jason, and then he grabs the bag, and they head for the concourse, and they run the flight. A guy punches in a security code onto a door as they walk up. He gives them a nod. They dug into an unauthorized area, an authorized area, and this guy, just looking at him, he looks like bad news. James then tells Teresa to get them out. She shoves her fingers down her throat, obviously to make it seem like she's throwing up, because she obviously needs to throw up what she took, and he grabs a coffee can and starts rinsing the bags and counting, and she keeps puking them up. He counts and she keeps gagging. There's 3 more to go. He says they're dissolving. She has to hurry. She says she can't. She's getting dizzy. He grabs the soap out of the dispenser on the wall, pours some down her throat, and again, it's so much going on here that it makes her vomit, and that's the last of them. She hands him one. He drops and says they're good. They get them into a plastic bag. A man waits watching his watch. They walk by him. He grabs the bag off their arm. They go outside, get a cab. Teresa's put back in the cage, and one of the women says that she should have died, not Aveline. It should have been her, because Aveline was not at all associated with Guerrero. She, in fact, was, and of course, she tried to run away, so obviously, they want her dead because of that. So in Sonoma, Mexico, Epifanio's men tell him no leads on Guerrero's girlfriend and got a ping on her friend Brenda. He tells Cesar, I don't know how you pronounce his name, to take care of this personally. Brenda is with Tony's at Oscars, and Epifanio tells his men to keep tracking Brenda. Camilla goes to see Teo, who is played by Mark Consuelos, surprisingly, which I thought was really cool, actually. I like seeing Mark Consuelos on this show. That was actually one of the things I was most looking forward to, was seeing Mark Consuelos here. She tells him that she wants to take over a trawler company with no paper trail. Teo says he knows who she is and what she does, but wonders why she's coming to him, because obviously, it's not going to do much. And he offers her a cherry mint. She glares. He says life is like that, sour and sweet. And Teo says he doesn't want to go to jail, and she says she doesn't either. She says she has a challenge, was told he likes challenges, and she says she doesn't want her husband to know what she's doing because she's going to war with her husband, because obviously you can tell that they're very much against each other. Epifanio wants Teresa, and Camilla's going to get Teresa away from Epifanio. So she says she can handle him. She says do it quietly, methodically, no red flags, and we don't really know what Teo is capable of. We just get introduced to the character, we don't really know what he's capable of, and I'm already really intrigued on seeing what actually he plans on doing. So Cesar then unlocks the trunk of the car, finds Oscar there to tell him that he picked up Brenda and Tony. Cesar's guy says he pulled out 3 teeth, and he still wouldn't tell them where Brenda is. Cesar shoots Oscar, tells Gato to bury him. Camilla goes to a nightclub and up some stairs to a private area. Epifanio calls her and says no matter the cost, he wants to find the girl, and she says it must be important. He says she should come home. Camilla says she asked around and no one has seen her. And again, she's trying to make it seem like she sent Teresa, she sent Teresa out. She sent Teresa out to run. And she asked him how much manpower to put on it. Then she asks dead or alive. He says preferably alive, because obviously he wants her alive. And Camilla asks again what this girl means to him, and he doesn't really give a clear answer. She asks if Batman showed him the new terms. He says that this is stiff, and we don't really know why Epifanio wants Teresa so badly. Of course, she was associated with Guerrero, but why exactly her? Why does he need Teresa? She says if you refuse, their split will be less amicable. He calls it tough talk. She reminds him that she built the business, not him. He says, okay, 12 months, and they'll revisit it next year. If you remember, they're kind of battling over who has more control, and it kind of reminds me of Quinn and Chet from Unreal, just not nearly as interesting as Quinn and Chet. I mean, Camilla definitely gives off a Quinn-type personality in the sense that Quinn, will get anything done. She's so cutthroat, and that's very much how Camilla is as well. But they're kind of like how Quinn and Chet are for TV, the way that Camilla and Epifanio are with drugs. And I think it's kind of interesting the way we saw that. He ends the call. She tells James to get closer to Teresa. She says to scare her about running away or going to the cops, and the only way to live is to stay with me and is to stay with her. And James smokes a cigarette, thinks as Camilla walks out. He obviously knows that, Epifanio is bad news, and he needs to obviously protect Teresa. So Teresa sits on her mattress in the cage. Her future self tells her sweet dreams, and that is how the episode ends. And overall, let's get into this episode. So overall, it's a better showing of what the show is going to be. Obviously, it's, we have Epifanio, who is going after Teresa and Brendan, pretty much anyone associated with Guerrero. But what is the beef he actually has against them? Why does he want them? Why does he want them? What does he want to do with them? Does he want to kill him? He's not giving Camilla a clear answer, and that's something I definitely want to see, is what exactly does he want to do here? And where is James taking Teresa? We don't know where he's taking Teresa. Obviously, she's getting away from all this because, Epifanio is coming after her, but where is he taking her? We don't really know. Camilla's saying, obviously, that, she's only safe with him, so we'll have to see how that goes. I'm wondering if James is going to replace Guerrero. I don't think he's going to replace Guerrero necessarily, because you can't really replace Guerrero, but I do think he's going to protect her. Hopefully, we'll have to see how that all goes down. That's going to be interesting. And then Brenda and Tony, they have no idea where Teresa is right now, and I really feel the worst for Brenda. Out of all the characters, she's the one I feel the worst for, because she has no idea where her friend is. Her friend, is gone. She has no idea where she is. Hopefully, she'll see Teresa again at some point. I don't really know, though. We'll have to see what happens with that, so that's going to be very interesting. And then, what is really Camilla's motive? What does she really want Teresa to do? Is she trying to help her? Is she trying to train her? I don't really know what's going to happen, because like I said, Teresa's really gotten into herself into the situation that she never really meant to get herself into. She never realized really what was going on with Guerrero. She kind of just got herself involved because she was associated with Guerrero, and automatically that made her a target. But we'll have to see what's going on there, because that's going to be interesting. And again, I like seeing those scenes with Teresa talking to her future self. My problem with this show so far is that it's way too fast-paced. I mean, I really think that the show didn't nearly give us enough time with Teresa and with Aveline. I would want to see a little bit more going on there. I think we just should have seen more happening, because for me, it was very rushed. It was very rushed for what was going on. The show is pretty much moving full speed ahead, and I needed to actually slow down a little bit. Hopefully next week, I'm thinking, now that Teresa's away from the prostitute business and she's, going on this plane, I'm thinking things are going to slow down next week. I hope things slow down, because this was a very fast-paced episode. Not that that wasn't bad, because the action is awesome in the show. So far, the show is just a lot of action and not enough story, and I kind of want more of a story, because right now the story we're getting is Epifanio going after Teresa and Camilla trying to help Teresa or something. We don't really know what Epifanio's motive is. I do like this whole thing of Brenda trying to search for Teresa, not really knowing where she is, and also how Brenda made amends with the guy that she was with. I thought that was definitely well done. I definitely like seeing that. I thought that definitely was one of the strongest points of this episode, is showing more of Brenda's character, seeing more what's going on there. Definitely, I like seeing that. I thought that was definitely well done. This guy that she clearly did have beef with, I really did enjoy, but then they killed Oscar, as we know. They killed Oscar, and we don't know what's going to happen there. Obviously, they've now killed Oscar, so where are Brenda and Tony going? We don't really know. Well, we heard that Cesar picked them up, but we don't really know what that means, and then we know Teresa's obviously trying to prove her worth to Camilla, that she's strong and everything, so I'll see what's going on there. Overall, guys, I'm really enjoying the show. Not as much as I thought it was going to. Again, I don't think it's as good as Mr. Robot. I'm going to say that again. I'm not trying to compare the shows. I'm just saying that the show seemed like it was going to be like Mr. Robot. It's really not, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I just needed to slow down a little bit. It's going full speed ahead, and we're only on episode 2, and I really need things to start going just a little bit slower. One of the reasons Mr. Robot is so good is because it's so slow-paced. It's a slow-paced show, but it is fast when it needs to be, and this show does action really well. I just think there's a little bit too much of it, and there's definitely an overabundance of action and not really enough focus on story. That's really my only gripe with the show right now. Other than that, I'm really enjoying it. I think this episode really showed me how great the characters could be. Adriana Barraza especially really surprised me in this episode. She did a great job, as well as Alice Braga. She does a great job as well. I told you how great she is last week, but I know you guys saw this episode. Left your thoughts on it. What do you think of this show? Not a lot of people are watching this show. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it, and oh well, I mean, Mr. Robot, a lot of people didn't talk about either until as the season went on. I feel Queen of the South hopefully is going to be the same way. I don't like it nearly as much as Mr. Robot, but I am enjoying it overall. I think as the season goes on, it's going to get better and better. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Your thoughts on it. We'll see you guys in my next one, which will be for a movie review, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.